What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined by my dad, Shawn, and today, reactions to the classics. We are up to the concluding video here as we are going through ranking every song on every Beatles record. And today, it is Abbey Road, Dad. The end of the journey is here.
We've been waiting for this for a long time. We've had a ton of fun doing this one.
Oh, yeah.
Little quick background. Released in September 1969. It was the 11th of 12 UK albums. However, it was recorded after Let It Be. So that's why we chose to do it this way. We did the same thing with our track-by-track reviews. If you want more info on this album, we got a ton of it. Check those out. It'll be on the end screen. A little bit about this album. It was after the Let It Be album, after the Get Back sessions. The band didn't get along well. McCartney calls up George Martin and says, let's get everybody back together. Let's do it like we used to do it. And George Martin said, you know what, we can do that, but I want to be able to produce like I used to, so you got to make sure Lennon's on board with that. That's what he kind of singled out on it. By this time, you know, John was heavy in with Yoko. During these sessions, they got in a bad car accident. Yoko was on bed rest, but Trey, instead of her staying at home and them having the studio to themselves, John actually had a bed brought into the studio, and Yoko was over there in the bed. John and Paul had worked on the Ballad of John and Yoko and really enjoyed that time together. Now, John wanted kind of just a traditional piece, and Paul and George Martin wanted some thematic stuff like they had on Sgt. Pepper's. That's how you have the medleys on side too. It's kind of a compromise there, but obviously many people view this as their best album. I actually view it as their second best, and most critics view it as their best or second best album as well.
One of the best swan songs in you know, history of music. Was fun to go and review this, you know, a couple years back, and you know, revisiting it holds up in my opinion just as well. So fantastic.
And it so holds up, Trey, that in 2011 Abbey Road was the #1 selling vinyl album in the world over anything that had just come out. And they did this on the 8-track reel-to-reel tape machines rather than the 4-track machines that were used like in Peppers. It's the first one not to be issued in mono, and the cover is the only original UK Beatles sleeve to neither show the artist nor the album title on its cover, despite EMI insisting, this is just insane, after all these albums, insisting that it wouldn't sell very well without their name or title. These
companies never learn.
I'm like, come on, man, are you serious? But anyway, that's kind of just the quick facts on it.
Yeah, and of course, we kind of touched on the medley. How was that going to work, ranking individual tracks? So we decided to combine Polythene Pam and Mean Mr. Mustard as one track, and then also combine Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and The End. And so that is going to take our 17 tracks down to 14 ranking.
And there's no right or wrong way. We just had to choose a way, guys.
So that's kind of what we're going to go with. And I guess, Dad, saying all that, let us get this final ranking underway. Starting with number 14, this was pretty easy for me. A track that actually fits much better and how they originally were going to do it in between Mean Mr. Mustard and Polythene Pam. It's going to be Her Majesty, the hidden 20, some odd second track.
23.
Pretty easy, just, you know, kind of there. It is what it is.
I'm going to be the only one probably of all the numerous. We get hundreds of comments on lists between Patreon, Facebook group, and YouTube, Trey. I'm probably the only one that doesn't have that song last. I have Sun King. Now, you got Lennon, McCartney, and Harrison on it. That's that lush multi-track vocal harmony, so that's good. In 1969, Lennon was interviewed about these lyrics and said, we were just joking, you know, we just made it up. So for me, believe it or not, that brings it in at 14. Number 13, I'm with you. I got Her Majesty. I don't have anything else to go on. They should have not had it on here.
No, exactly.
It ended perfectly, but
yeah, it really did. And then boom, it just come striking you
14,
so loud.
14 seconds after the end, I'm like, come on, guys, the end should have been the end. But anyway.
And so my number 13 is going to be the Mean Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam on 1-2 mashup. You know, yet again, both about just a little over a minute. If I had to nitpick, and there's not very many nitpicks for me on this extraordinary record. I'm not huge on the fuzzy nature of Mean Mr. Mustard, though I do enjoy the cheekiness of the tin bar up his nose. And then Polythene Pam works well as kind of building, ramping up, transitioning into you know, the next track. She came in through the bathroom window. So that is my number 13.
Yeah, my 12 is that Mean Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam. I think the drumming's nice. Polythene Pam was actually written when they were in India, so it was written a little while before this. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm clocking in at 12.
Yeah, my 12 is going to be the first McCartney tune up here. Watch out for that anvil, Dad.
Gotta watch out for it, man.
Maxwell's Silver Hammer, which it gets derided in some...
It does so much.
By some circles. But I think once you recognize the absurdity of it all, I enjoy it for what it is. You even have Paul cracking up halfway through the track, which is what I enjoy. And very... the imagery in it is quite striking, of course, and just that catchiness of the bang bang Maxwell Silver Hammer. It's fun, man. It's just there's so many titans on this record that I can't put it any higher.
I've already given my 12, so that's my number 11 though. So we're fun.
Nice.
And I defend this song all the time. It's still only my number 11 on this album, but yeah, it's not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. But Lennon and Harrison actually, voiced how much they disliked this song. McCartney wanted it to be perfect, as he did with many of his songs, and this one he really hammered him on. So they had a real disdain for this one, but I got it at 11. I still like it, just like you said. It's a fun little song.
And my number 11 is going to be one you've already touched on. It's going to be Sun King for me. I just love the chilled out vibe of this. It's almost a tune you feel you should be listening to by a campfire at night, if you will. The kind of nonsense lyricism that comes in just stands out as totally unique on this record, in my opinion. And I think that Lennon's vocals are pretty solid on it, as are the bass work, which I'm going to be a broken record on as well. I think Paul's bass work is just phenomenal throughout this entire record, and it comes through on Sun King.
Well, we got a little bit different order, but we still got there, Trey, to where our top 10 are the same 10 songs. I'm going to kick off my top 10 at number 10 with one of your favorites from this man, Mr. Ringo Starr. I got Octopus's Garden. Nice team effort here on the piano, guitar, and of course the drums are all nice. Came about, Ringo's on this boat. The ship's captain tells them what the octopuses do. They go along the bottom of the sea. They're getting the stones and all these things to make their garden. So he wrote this song. He also wrote it as kind of an escape, Trey, from all the issues that were going on within the band. So I think it's Ringo's second best song that he ever did. He only did 11, guys, so it's not like a big statement, but that's where I have this one.
Well, I got it at number 9, so I'll just touch on it here too.
I figured you'd have it a little higher.
Yeah, it's almost like a spiritual successor to Yellow Submarine. Our guy Ringo loved the water, I guess, man, and it's just such a yet again a relaxing, peaceful tune, especially in the middle there, where you get the water sound effects. The harmonies really come in. Yet again, I think Paul's bass work is a highlight instrumentally as well, and a solid vocal performance by my dude Ringo, going out with a bang.
Yeah, and it's interesting that he wrote it, so he probably wrote it a little bit more towards his own style. So
then that was my 9. So touching on my 10 here, it's going to be a track that I really wanted to place higher, but I just couldn't find a way. She came in through the bathroom window. It's one of those where you wish was longer, of course, as part of that medley there. An engaging story that has a memorable backstory as well. Beautiful blend of guitar and bass work, and I think Paul's swagger on this tune is just top notch. Lovely track.
So number 9, I got You Never Give Me Your Money. Not only was this about Alan Klein and Paul's issues there, but they were also about to lose possibly their songwriting credits, or their publishing credits, I should say, because Northern Songs was sold to ATV Music. So he was upset about that as well. So I think it's a great guitar diversity vocally in the song as well.
Just a great way to really kick off that medley
for
properly.
Sure.
I have it a couple spots up higher than you at number 7. But I will touch on another Paul tune here as we go to number 8. I have Oh Darling. What an unbelievable vocal performance here by Paul, just throughout this entire record.
Yeah,
man. I'm just going to be lavishing praises on Paul. The range that he shows here and the control really in his vocals are just so impressive. And he goes from being very sweet, almost and thoughtful, to When You Told Me, just getting that passion forth. I just really, really dig this track.
I have it higher, so I'll handle that when I get there. At number 8, I got She Came In Through the Bathroom Window. Basically just the story behind it's funny because they call them apple scruffs. They got a ladder, they crawled up into Paul's house, took some of his clothes, did those sorts of things. Nowadays, man, you'd be in prison for a while, but he took it.
I wouldn't play with that.
He took it pretty well, but I mean, great song. I just have it at number 8. What's your number 7?
My number 7 will be "You Never Give Me Your Money." I think Paul again showcases those killer vocals. The progression of the song in 4 minutes is notable. We have that soft piano ballad at the start to the harmonies, ramped up instrumentation in the middle to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All good children go to heaven bit. It just yet again works and fires on all cylinders, and is just a great piece in that medley there.
Yeah, my number 7 is "Because." We got those tri-harmonies that are also triple tracked, so they sound just right unbelievable. A little throwback to the way it used to be. John actually was hearing Yoko. He was laying in his house hearing Yoko play on the piano, and he asked her to play it backwards. She was playing Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. So I know a lot of people have this song ranked sky high because it wasn't on our Beatles top 100 songs, which you can check out later. Spoiler alert. And that was the one we had the most, I think, pushback on.
No, man, that is a great track. I have it a couple spots higher than you. I am going to touch on, I guess we're up to my number 6.
Yes.
It's funny because it was between either "Because" or this track where I was going to place them at 5 or 6. And I went with the one that I listened to more through, and that's "Because." So "Because" was my 5, but my number 6 is just a totally unique composition in the Beatles catalog. "I Want You," "She's So Heavy," a bit the closest the Beatles I think got to you could say maybe prog rock in a sense, as it's such a lengthy tune, almost topping at 8 minutes.
Yes,
you have the guitar work by Harrison is just out of this world, a bit Santana like, and you have these almost sultry Lennon vocals as well, which yet again just is a bit engaging and enthralling. The ramping up of the song to the chorus, adding that organ, is quite infectious, and yet again that rhythm and swagger of the track is next level. Then you have the sense of doom that comes in that final couple minute coda, which where you get the wind machines going, and
it's about 3 minutes long.
Yeah, and it transitions to the "Here Comes the Sun," but of course in the vinyl days you would have to flip it over. And streaming, it works as a nice transition.
It really doesn't. It's also my number 6. So wow, we're finally coming in. I really like this song. I think this song is really good. It's only got 14 words. A lot of people don't realize.
That's right.
But this is the song I see more than anything. We've got John Lennon rankings up where people come in, that's way too low, it should be top 5. Like, this is, for me, the most juice song in Lennon's catalog. People rate it way too high. I know I'm going to get a lot of comments. I think it's really good. Obviously, I got it at 6 on this album, but people just really begin. I think it's more about the guitar work and stuff.
Yeah, that instrumentation and vibe of the tune.
Yeah, exactly.
Yet again shows there's a little bit of everything, I think, on Abbey Road here. And now we're up to 5, which is "Because" for me. I don't have too much more to add than what you did, Dad. I just think those tri-harmonies are heavenly. You can go on YouTube and check out the isolated vocals.
Yeah.
And I think that'll really just show you how impressive it is. It's almost got a bit of a spacey type vibe with the synthesizer, which makes its appearance a few different notable times on this record as well. So a great track here.
I'm going to stay on my pattern, Trey, because my number 5 is "Oh Darling."
There you go.
Fantastic song. All of it works, right? Drums, vocals, guitars, all. But this is the most juice song I see on our Paul McCartney list, because "Oh Darling's" a top 5 Paul song. It's not. But I get it, man, and I'll probably get those "Here We Go Again." But, it's a really, really good song. It's fantastic, but it's not upper echelon. That's rare air, but it is number 5 on this album, and that is quite good. What do you got at number 4?
Well, my number 4 is going to be the opener. The Beatles always bringing the bangers to open off the record. "I Have Come Together" here, one of the most famous Beatles tunes, I think, in the modern, current day. People in my age range, in their 20s, it's been featured in so many different movies and even commercials throughout the years here recently. I think that piano and guitar lead interplay are notable, as the rhythm that oozes off each verse. And you can't help but want to belt out the chorus, "Come Together." Yeah. It's just so infectious, man, and showed that Lennon can still churn out a all-time classic.
Yeah, and he said it was gobbledygook. That's what he said. I can't even say that word right. He wrote it originally, started writing for Timothy Leary in his campaign against Ronald Reagan for governor of California, which promptly ended when Timothy got arrested for marijuana possession.
60s,
so
wild time,
they threw this together, but as you can probably figure, it's my number 4
nice.
as well. So that's interesting, because we have not talked about this, and it got real tight there with these top tunes. But yeah, just like you said, it just starts the album like boom, let's go. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one. What do you got at 3?
Well, 3 is gonna be my part of the medley here. Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, the end, the perfect way to be a swan song for the band here, man. I think Golden Slumbers just might be Paul's best vocal performance in his entire career.
And that is quite a statement.
Ooh, especially when we hit the chorus and go. It's just one of the best vocals in, I think, recorded music history right there. So
you want to harmonize it for me? Maybe not.
That'll be for the
It's
live
in my
stream
head, though.
people.
It's in my head.
And then we go into the Carry That Weight, where I like it. My dude Ringo is really the voice you can hear in that portion. And the transitions are just glorious, and you get the horns that are going up and Carry That Weight, and then the end comes in, which you have the drum solo by Ringo. You have the
which he hated. He never wanted to do a drum solo. They convinced him,
which is crazy to me because I think Ringo is a star throughout this entire record on the drumming.
No pun intended. Yeah.
See, I didn't even plan that, y'all. And then we have the 3 separate mini guitar solos by John, Paul, and George as well in the end there. And then we end with the final line that is just so poetic. And in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. Perfect ending, man. Just a killer.
Yeah, once again, I'll say, just Her Majesty shouldn't be. I'll tell you what you do. You just, when this song ends, you just turn off your streaming. You take off the vinyl. You turn off your CD. And then it ends the way that it should have, no pun intended. I mean, I agree with everything you said on those. It's not quite there for me yet. It'll come up in just a minute. I don't want to give it away because then you'll know. So these top 3 were so difficult. And one of the problems was where you put this next song and this man's other song. We had this issue whenever we did the George Harrison top songs. We debated this for...
Dude, it was tough,
It was tough, and I don't think there's a right answer. But I'm going to go to the other side of the loaded AA single with Come Together, and that is Something. It received the Novella Award for Best Song Musically and Lyrically of 1969. Single was number 1 in the U.S., 4 in the U.K. Written to Patty Boyd, Harrison's first wife. One of the interesting things is he didn't figure they'd put it on the album because we're already having all these issues, and that's why All Things Must Pass is so loaded, his first solo effort. But he actually took this to Joe Cocker at first.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting, man.
But then he ended up getting it on this album. But this is the one where people went, uh-oh, this one, and of course, Here Comes the Sun, where Harrison was seen as an equal. I mean, winning the Novella Award for isn't that amazing? Considering that they weren't even allowing him to put his songs on the album, so it really kind of brought him right there with Lennon and McCartney as a songwriter.
No, but that's it's such a great track, and I mean, I guess I'll give away. I only have 2 left.
Yeah, you do.
I'm going George's other epic masterpiece that's on Abbey Road. I'm going Here Comes the Sun at number 2 right here. This is serotonin in music form, ladies and gentlemen. Such a positive, uplifting track that I enjoy the lyricism because it still recognizes some of the hardships that this person has gone through, but still that hopefulness that's in this tune, that looking ahead to, hey, here comes the sun. Yeah. And of course, we have the one of the early uses of the Moog synthesizer that's in here. George came out with the entire record, on his own, I believe in '68, messing with the synthesizer. So to see it used here, spliced in very well, it just all works, man. It's an all-time classic.
Yeah, my number 2 is the medley. We've already discussed it. So you just talked about my number 1, Here Comes the Sun. Obviously, it works so well musically. Lennon was actually not there because he was recovering from the car crash. So, and George wrote this song as he was escaping an Apple Corps meeting, which had become just a nightmare. And he's on Clapton's property, and he writes a song. He was going through a bad time. Troy George, he hated the Apple Corps. It was a bad deal for him. He had just had his tonsils out, and obviously the band was having issues. It's my number 1, but it was a really, these top 3
you can't go wrong, I don't think.
These top 3 were a struggle. The rest of the album is pretty easy for me to rank, but these top 3 are a struggle. But that's what I went with, so obviously I know what your number 1 is.
Yeah, number 1 here, possibly George's best tune. We have Something, just obviously a gorgeous love song that is timeless, can be played, I think, decades, centuries from now, still going to be as powerful as it was. Paul's bass, yet again, mingled with the strings, and the great Billy Preston's organ are just heavenly. George's vocals so inspired, and when you add all that together, man, you get a perfect track, in my opinion. And the difference between that and Here Comes the Sun was very thin for me when looking at the George tunes. But I give the slight nod to something. But ask me in a week, and who knows, that might switch up.
No, exactly. The top three for me, you could argue any one of them. I'm not gonna argue back with you. But retrospectively listening to this album, some of the Beatles albums weren't quite as good when I retrospectively listened to them. Some of them were just as good. This one was just as good. Yeah. I mean, a retrospective rating for me would probably be a 9.75. Even though there's some songs on here, obviously, that I don't like, and I think I'm gonna state it once again. Lennon's contribution on this, very diminished. Paul and George, stars of this album. It's funny, Trey, when we started this journey of ranking these, we had all the Paul lovers coming at us because we spoke so highly of Lennon on the first several records. Now we've been having the Lennon people coming out. You like Paul more because we're speaking so. No, we're just telling it like it is, man. You can have one you like better. I get it, but I mean this one Paul carries.
Oh, definitely.
And George, these two, from George.
Oh, definitely. I think Paul, yet again, is going to be the MVP for me, though I know some might argue George just on the strength of his guitar work and obviously the two master classes on Here Comes the Sun and Something. I'm with you, Dad, man. This is a masterpiece, in my opinion, of a record. I have it just behind Revolver.
I do too.
I wouldn't, if somebody has it won, I'm not going to throw a fuss. It's so iconic, obviously, from the album cover to the hit singles that are in it to the medley at the end, which was so innovative at its time.
Of course.
And I think just the perfect swan song from any rock band, at least. Of course, it didn't come out last, but recorded last year, and it's I'll never get tired of listening to it, man.
Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of the end of the journey, so to speak. Now, but we will have more Beatles rankings coming up towards the end of this year as we're filming this 2021 or start of 2022, but we're going to move on to some other things now, but we'll be back. But we appreciate everybody who's taking this journey with us.
Oh, it's been an absolute blast, man. And like you said, Dad, wanting to maybe rank some openers, rank some closers.
Yep.
Got a suggestion to rank the singles that didn't appear on the record. That will be with no debate, I'm sure. So that should be fun. So be sure to hit that big red subscribe button and check that out. And if you can't make the listening party, we upload them to our Patreon page in full as well, and have a back catalog up there, so you can check out our Patreon page as little as $1 a month, either in the description or in the end screen here in just a second. We appreciate everybody who's been commenting, following along,
definitely, man,
discussing the greatest band there ever was, Dad.
Exactly, unquestionably the greatest band that ever was.
Until next time, y'all, thanks so much for watching, happy listening, and we will see you.